Silence can be the loudest sound in the world. If you are over 50 and dealing with the silence of an adult child, you know it's not just quiet, it's heavy. It fills the rooms of your home with questions that have no answers and doubts that have no end. It hurts deeply because it feels like an erasure of the past and a rejection of the future. But what if the silence isn't what you think it is? Today we look through the lens of Viktor Frankl to find a clarity that cuts through the confusion, transforming the pain of silence into a profound understanding of life, love, and letting go. By the time you reach 50, you have likely weathered many storms, career changes, health scares, perhaps the loss of your own parents. But nothing prepares you for the unique, piercing pain of silence from the child you raised. It is a grief that has no closure. You wake up every day wondering if today is the day the phone will ring, and go to bed every night grappling with the why. The hurt comes from the dissonance. Your memories are full of noise, laughter, crying, school plays, arguments, deep talks. The present reality of silence feels like a betrayal of those memories. You wonder if you imagined the closeness. You wonder if you matter. This silence breeds a specific kind of anxiety, a neurotic looping of thoughts, where you are always the defendant in a trial you didn't know was happening. Viktor Frankl, however, teaches us that despair is suffering without meaning. The silence hurts so much because it feels meaningless. It feels like random cruelty. But Frankl argues that if we can find meaning in the silence, we can endure it with dignity. He invites us to look beyond the surface of the behavior to the deeper existential realities at play. This video will explore 5 powerful insights that bring clarity to the fog of estrangement, helping you to see the silence not as a weapon used against you, but as a complex signal from a struggling soul and a call for your own spiritual evolution. The paradox of paradoxical intention in relationships. When the silence hurts, our instinct is to break it. We want to scream, "Talk to me." We want to force a connection. We send text after text, leave voicemails, buy gifts, or use guilt. We try to will the relationship back into existence. Viktor Frankl identified a mechanism called paradoxical intention. He observed that the more we fear something, like losing a connection, the more we inadvertently make it happen. The more we try to force sleep, the more awake we become. The more we try to force love or attention, the more we repel it. This insight brings clarity. Your frantic efforts to end the silence might be the very thing sustaining it. Your hyper-intention, your desperate need for them to speak, creates a pressure that the adult child feels as suffocating. To them, your messages don't read as love. They read as demands. They read as, "I am in pain, and it is your job to fix it." Clarity comes when you realize that stepping back is not giving up. It is releasing the pressure valve. By engaging in a form of reverse psychology on your own anxiety, by deciding not to pursue, not to demand, not to force, you change the energetic dynamic. You create a vacuum that they might eventually feel safe enough to enter. This is difficult because it requires sitting with the anxiety of silence without acting on it. But the clarity is empowering. You realize you have been pushing against a door that pulls open. By stopping the push, you stop the cycle of rejection. You regain your composure. You stop being the needy parent and become the stable presence. This shift often confuses the dynamic enough to break the pattern. The silence as an existential cry, not a personal attack. The deepest hurt comes from taking the silence personally. They are doing this to hurt me. They don't care about me. You see the silence as a weapon aimed at your heart. Frankl invites us to look deeper. He teaches that all behavior is an attempt to find meaning or to cope with the lack of it. Often an adult child's silence is not about you at all. It is an existential cry of their own. Many adults in their 30s and 40s are drowning. They are facing the existential vacuum, a feeling of emptiness despite having jobs, families, or material goods. They are overwhelmed, depressed, or anxious. When a person is drowning, they stop waving. They stop calling. They conserve energy for survival. The silence might be their way of shutting down the noise of the world so they can hear themselves. If your relationship has historically been loud, filled with advice, expectations, or high emotional stakes, they might be turning down the volume to find their own frequency. Seeing the silence as their coping mechanism brings immense clarity. It transforms your anger into compassion. You realize they aren't punishing me, they are protecting themselves. They are retreating into a shell because the world feels Too sharp. This doesn't make it fair, but it makes it understandable. It removes the malice from the equation. You are not the target. You are just collateral damage in their internal war. The call to self-transcendence. The pain of silence keeps you trapped in your own ego. You are constantly checking your feelings, your phone, your hurt. You become the center of the tragedy. Look at what is happening to me. Viktor Frankl taught that the true meaning of life is found in self-transcendence, rising above oneself to focus on something or someone else. He argued that human existence is always directed outward, towards a meaning to fulfill or another human being to encounter. This insight challenges you to transcend your own hurt, to truly see your child. Are you missing them, or are you missing how they made you feel? Are you grieving their presence or your role? Clarity comes when you shift from "how dare they ignore me" to "I wonder what burden is so heavy that they cannot carry a conversation with their own parent." This shift from victimhood to curiosity is profound. It requires a spiritual bigness. It asks you to love them more than you love your own comfort. Self-transcendence means wishing them well, even in the silence. It means sending love without a return address. It means praying for their peace, not just their return. When you do this, the sting of the hurt lessens because you are no longer focused on your wound. You are focused on your love. You move from a state of lack, "I need them," to a state of abundance, "I have love to give." This restores your power. If you wish to support this work, the thanks button is there for you. Thank you for being here. The tragic optimism of waiting. Waiting is torture. It feels passive and helpless, but Frankl spoke of tragic optimism, the ability to remain optimistic in spite of the tragic triad of pain, guilt, and death. He taught that we can turn suffering into a human achievement. How? Do you achieve something in the silence? You achieve patience, you achieve faith. You turn the waiting into a spiritual practice. Instead of dead time, where you are just marking days off the calendar, you view this as gestation time. Nature has seasons of dormancy. Winter looks dead, but deep underground roots are strengthening. The silence of your child might be a winter season in your relationship. It looks like death, but it might be a necessary dormancy for the relationship to mature. Perhaps the old dynamic, parent and child, needs to die for a new dynamic, adult, to be born. This silence is the cocoon. It is messy and dark, but it is where the transformation happens. Clarity brings the realization that you don't have to fix the silence. You have to endure it with hope. You maintain a posture of openness. You keep the porch light on. You don't lock the door out of spite. You practice tragic optimism by believing that the story isn't over, even when the page is blank. You live your life fully in the meantime, knowing that a full life is the best invitation for them to return to. The ultimate freedom, meaning, beyond relationship. The hardest truth is this: your child might not come back, or they might come back only partially. If your entire sense of meaning is tied to this one relationship, you are in a precarious position. You have built your house on sand. Frankl warns us against making any one thing, a person, a job, a role, the sole source of our meaning. This is idolatry of the finite. When that thing is removed, we collapse. The silence hurts deeply because it exposes the existential vacuum within you. If they are silent, who are you? If they don't need you, do you matter? The insight that brings ultimate clarity is that your meaning is independent of your children. You are a universe unto yourself. You have a responsibility to life that goes beyond procreation and parenting. This silence is a brutal teacher, but it teaches you to find your own center. It forces you to reconnect with the parts of yourself you abandoned. It pushes you to find meaning in nature, in art, in service, in learning, in spirituality. When you find meaning that is yours alone, the silence of your child stops being a fatal wound and becomes a sad circumstance. It still hurts, but it doesn't kill you. You realize, I would prefer to have them, but I can live without them. This is the ultimate freedom. It is the freedom Frankl found in the camps, the freedom to be a human being regardless of the conditions. When you reach this state, you are no longer a hostage to your child's whims. You are free. And paradoxically, a free, happy, self-sustaining parent is the most attractive thing in the world to an adult child. By finding your own meaning, you become a person they might actually want to know, not out of obligation, but out of interest. The silence of an adult child is a deep, aching wound. But Viktor Frankl shows us that we have the choice to let the wound fester or to let it heal into a scar of wisdom. By understanding the paradox of pressure, seeing the silence as their struggle rather than your failure, transcending your ego to love them from afar, practicing tragic optimism, and finding your own independent meaning, you gain clarity. The fog lifts. You see that the silence is not the end of the world. It is an invitation to a deeper, more resilient way of living. You can stand in the silence without being consumed by it. You can find peace in the quiet. Now I turn this over to you. How does the silence feel to you today? Is it a heavy weight, or are you beginning to see it as a space for your own growth? Please share your reflections in the comments below. Your words might be the comfort someone else needs right now. If this video brought you clarity, please like it and share it with others who are walking this lonely path. And subscribe to our channel to join a community committed to finding light in the darkness. You are strong enough to handle the silence.